Yee! Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tiffany and I'm the owner of Tiffany Gordon Cosplay LLC, which is a company that focuses on costume and prop fabrication as well as education. And I'm so excited to have you back. So if you haven't already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. And on today's cosplay tutorial, I'm excited to bring you 4 new cosplay breastplates to help you with your next cosplay build. And these are specifically female size large. And I'd love to hear from you what other sizes you think I should make. So let me know in the comments and let's get started. And each of these breastplate patterns are available individually on my website, tiffanyGordonCosplay.com, or you can save some money and get it as a bundle. And the materials that you'll need for making these breastplates are 4mm HG foam, Sharpies, a cutting mat, X-Acto knife, contact cement glue, and your safety gear of a respirator. And I'll have links to all of this in the description. Now on to our first one, which is pattern number 9. And for this one, you're gonna wanna start by tracing all the parts, which are A through J, onto your 4mm HG foam, followed by cutting it out with an X-Acto knife. Reminder, don't forget to label each part as well. And here's what all the parts should look like once cut out. Next, grab your contact cement glue and of course your respirator, and you're gonna apply the glue onto all of the labeled edges. And then we're gonna wait for the glue to dry fully before we start to assemble the pieces. Starting off with each of the cups, doing F to G, G to H, and then repeating it for E, D, and C. Then we're gonna connect those 3 pieces to the bottom piece. And for this, it's gonna be C to B and H to I. And once those 2 pieces are done, you will then connect the back piece to the front piece, which will be A to B, followed by I to J. And then our last step is connecting the middle sections, which will be B to I, as well as C to H to complete this breastplate. Now on to pattern number 10. And for this pattern, you're going to want to get all of the pieces and tape them onto your 4mm HG foam. This will be parts A through L. Trace them, don't forget to label them, and then we're gonna cut them out using an X-Acto knife. And here's what all of the pieces should look like once cut out. Now for our glue, we're gonna grab that contact cement glue and of course our respirator, and you're going to apply the glue onto all of the labeled edges. Once the glue's applied, wait for it to fully dry, and then we can start to assemble. Starting off with the cups, you'll want to grab part D and part I, and both of these, they're going to attach to themselves first. Starting with one cup, working from I to H, and then connecting H to G to complete that cup, and repeat for the other cup, which will be D to E and E to F. Then we're gonna connect the bottom piece to each of the cups, and so this one is going to be J connecting to the I, H, and G piece, followed by the C one, which will connect to D, E, and F. And I'll say that connecting these pieces may be a little bit tricky, so you might have to go back and forth to connect, especially when you do the very center D part. Then we're gonna connect the 2 front pieces together down the center, and then on to the back parts, which are gonna be connecting A to B and L to K. Then just connect the back pieces to the front piece to their correlating side, and that will finish this breastplate. Now for pattern number 11. And just like the other breastplate patterns, we're going to grab all of our pieces, which are gonna be A through N, trace them onto our 4mm HG foam, don't forget to label, and then we're going to cut them out using an X-Acto knife. Next, we're gonna grab our contact cement glue as well as a respirator, and we're gonna apply the glue onto all of the labeled edges. Again, you're gonna want all of the glue to fully dry before we start to assemble them. Starting off with the cups first, and we're gonna grab parts E and J, and these are both going to attach to themselves first before we start to assemble each of the cups. Connecting J to I and E to F. Then we're gonna connect the larger top part of each of the cups, and this one's going to be I to H first, starting from one end, working using our table to connect each piece flush together to reach the other side, and then we're gonna repeat this for connecting G to F. Then we'll grab the band portions to connect underneath. And for this one, we're gonna start with D, connecting it to our EFG piece, starting from one side, working to the other, followed by repeating this with K, connecting to the JIH piece. And for these, I found it easiest to connect each end first and then connect the center last. Then continuing, working our way down, we're gonna connect K to L and C to D. And at this point, both of your front halves should be completed, and now you can just connect them together down the center. Now for the back pieces, and each of the main back pieces are going to attach to themselves first, starting with M, attaching it to itself, working from the point up till the top, as well as repeating this for A. And then we're going to connect their bottom parts, and for this it's going to be M to N and A to B. And then we can connect the back pieces to the front pieces, starting off with our AB piece, connecting it to DC, and then our KL piece, connecting it to MN. And the very last step before completing this breastplate is connecting the shoulder part. And we're gonna be doing H to M first, followed by G to A to finish off this breastplate. Now for the last of these 4 female breastplates size large, this is pattern number 12, and it is a little bit more tricky than all the other ones, but you should have no problem assembling it. And just like all the others, we're going to trace all of the pieces, which are going to be A through T, onto our 4mm HG foam. Again, you're going to want to label each of these pieces before cutting them out with an X-Acto knife. Next, we're gonna grab our contact cement glue and our respirator, and we're gonna apply the glue onto all of the labeled edges. Then put them to the side, wait for the glue to fully dry, and then we can start assembling the pieces together. Starting off with the cup sections first. This is gonna be I to H, and then H to G, followed by our other cup, which will be L to M and M to N. Starting with connecting it at M, going to the center of L, and then reconnecting back to M. And repeat for the other side, connecting J to H, then I, and back to H again. Then we're gonna work our way down this time, doing the waistband, which is going to be connecting O to N first, and repeat for the G to the F piece. And continuing our way down, we're gonna be doing 2 pieces connecting D to E first, and these pieces are what are gonna connect to F, and repeating for the opposite side, which is P to Q, which will then connect to part O. And now you should have both the front halves complete, and we can connect them down the center. And this part can be a little bit tricky, but I found it best to start at the top with the J to K section first, working those sections, then doing the cup sections together, and then ending with the bottom section. And then on to the back parts. And each of our back pieces are actually going to first connect to themselves. So this is gonna be T, which is gonna connect to itself, followed by A connecting to itself, starting from the inner point, working your way to the top. And then I'm going to connect their lower pieces together, which first are gonna be R to S, which will connect to its correlating T point, and then connecting B to C, connecting it to its correlating A parts to complete both our back pieces. And then you guessed it, it's time to connect our back pieces to the front piece. Starting with our A piece, connecting this to F, and then C connecting to D. And then for the other side, which is T, which will connect to O, and then Q, which will connect to R. And the very last steps for completing this breastplate is connecting the shoulder section. And this is going to be K to T and J to A. And congratulations on making your last of these 4 female breastplates. And that, guys, is how to make all 4 of the female breastplates size large to help you with your next cosplay build. And I hope that you found this video helpful, and if so, let me know in the comments, as well as don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. A big thank you to all of my company sponsors here on YouTube, as well as all of my members, specifically those legendary members who financially help to support me so I can continue bringing you more cosplay tutorials. And I will see you for our next video. Much love, guys.